Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about this week's TV news, which is a thing we do every week. And we work through the week's news. We also pick our favourite episode of TV at the end of the show. We also give any updates that we have for the channel, for shows that are coming up, for shows that have just finished or started, anything like that. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So first things first, in terms of shows that started this week, we did have one or two. We did have Runaways, which started this week.
Yeah.
3 episodes went up for its launch. We've done the first 2 so far. Third one will be coming sometime tomorrow night. So we got that. Also, obviously, last Friday, Punisher kicked off, which we started, and we got to episode 5, and we did not like it very much. So episode 5 was actually the last one we did, which will be up by the time this goes live.
Doing 5 was generous.
It it was, because we were clearly unhappy at 4, but we said we'll give it one more, we'll see how we feel, and we felt even worse after episode 5.
Yeah,
so
we regretted making that decision.
What you mean? We regretted not just cutting it there, episode 4?
Yeah. Just saying we'll do one more. I regret saying that because that was a chore watching 5.
It was, but at the same time, I feel like at least we're sure. Like there was no.
Yeah, no doubt left.
Yeah, like if we'd cut it at 4, I'd be like, oh, but what if it was just starting to pick up the next episode? But after 5, I don't want to watch any more of those episodes, so
No.
I'm okay with it. So that's that. So, yeah. In terms of,
I mean, we had Godless as well.
we did have Godless. Small confession: I forgot we did this at the start of the show, and I don't have anything up to tell me what we did this week. I'm doing this completely from memory. just FYI.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Godless.
Yeah, that surprised us. We were expecting it tomorrow or today. I don't know what day it is anymore.
Yeah, we were expecting it Friday, but it actually popped up on Wednesday of all things. I think the reason for that is because they had another show pop up on Friday. They had that Spike Lee She's Got to Have It launch on Friday, which we weren't checking out because it just didn't seem like in our wheelhouse, and I don't really like Spike Lee that much. I happened to see just like one of a blurb from a review, not like a full. I didn't read a full review, but I saw the headline for
The
it on
tagline
Twitter,
bit, yeah.
and it said, "She's got to have it. You've got to watch the original movie instead." I was like, "Oh, damn, that was cold." That was cold. So yeah, Godless is pretty good. We've done 2 episodes of that so far. It's a 7-episode event limited series.
Don't waste your time with Punisher. Watch Godless instead.
Watch Godless. Yeah, you said it surprised us being on a different day than we expected. It also surprised us in how good it was, how good it looks.
Yeah, because I remember
cinematic.
I never watched the trailer because I just didn't get around to it. But you said you'd seen it and it looked all right, but you weren't super feeling it from the trailer.
It was a very quickly cut trailer, if I recall correctly, and the show is not quickly cut. It's a very long shots and nice big panoramic kind of views and all that. So, but yeah, I don't really remember anything from the trailer though, plot wise.
No, I just remember your general feeling. You say that.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what's kicked up in the past week. Next week we have a couple of things worth mentioning. Now, admittedly, they'll both be after the news, but I think they're worth pointing out in advance. Netflix have got another original show starting next Friday, which is called Dark. It is the German original, which is about kids who get kidnapped, and there might be time travel involved. We were very excited about it. It is worth mentioning that unlike most Netflix shows, we will not be starting that until this Sunday, because Connor is out of town for a couple of days. The news will be done in advance on the Thursday, so that won't be late, but it does mean that Dark won't be started till the Sunday, so apologies for that, but it is coming. We are excited about it. Also next week, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s back.
Yeah, I mean, so much Marvel stuff we're kicking off here.
I think it says a lot though that when we get to this point where there's so much Marvel stuff, that's when we start cutting them. It's like, okay.
I mean, yeah, speaking of cutting, we did drop The Gifted as well.
True. Oh, not MCU, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm bundling it, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was this week actually. That's 2 things we cut this week that were Marvel related. The Gifted.
We gained one, and we got one coming up next week. So
Yeah, to be fair, the one next week there'll be no we like, so no quantity. But yeah, so the double premiere of that is next week. It's next Friday, but Friday's a really awkward night for us for new shows to be on. But it will be up sometime late Saturday, or discussion about it. But so that's the thing. So we dropped Gifted. We gave it 8 episodes. It was getting worse and worse by the last few, so we jumped ship on that as well. But hey, just in time, because we have Shield coming back. Sci-Fi's Happy is launching in the next few weeks, so there's stuff coming back to kind of fill in the voids. Plus all these Netflix shows.
And there's Netflix stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically filling out most of our schedule right now, is all these Netflix shows. So no, that is the updates. I think that's all the updates. Like I said, I didn't have anything in front of me to tell me what the updates were.
I'm having a glance. I guess we should mention not this next episode of Television from the Multiverse, which will go up, on this Sunday. But next week's one will be a bit different because it is the crossover. Yeah, next week's, which is actually really funny because it'll be really quick after the next episode. But because it's a 2-night crossover event, we're actually going to have the first half of that done in one episode on Tuesday, and then the second night, because it airs Monday, Tuesday, we'll have our videos up on Tuesday, Wednesday, in 2 parts. So it'll be like the first night's Supergirl and Arrow. We'll have a video up about those 2, and then we'll do one the following night about the other 2. So that's the plan for next week. So I guess that'll take us on. I think that is everything this time.
I think that's everything. That was a lot to go through, actually. I picked a hell of a week not to pick up my cheat sheet.
I know.
Sometimes it's like one little thing to mention, and this week it was like, here's 6 things. We dropped things, we started things, there's things starting next week, there's changes to schedules.
There's probably something that you've missed as well that I just don't know about.
Yeah, which means it's probably important, because I keep the important stuff to myself.
Yeah.
You're on a need-to-know basis.
Yeah, exactly. You have a tendency to, like, you'll show me every so often, but you keep it, you keep all the information as much as you can.
With that said, let's get cracking into the news. I was saying to Connor before we started recording that it's funny we did the news a day early last week, because probably a good third of the news we have today is from last Friday. So if we'd done an episode at the usual time last week, we'd have much less to talk about today. But arguably having the 2 more sort of equal episodes as opposed to one big episode last week and one quieter episode this week is better for business. I suppose
it's better for everyone's sanity.
Alright, well, we'll get in. So quick things at the top of the show, as per usual. First up, I'm excited about this. Cara doesn't care, but I care a lot.
I don't have a clue what you're on about.
I was ecstatic to see this news yesterday or the day before, whenever it popped up. Netflix has renewed Mystery Science Theater 3000, The Return, for a season 2, or season 12 of the original show, depending. I like to think of it as season 12, and the last one was season 11, but technically this is The Return, season 1 and season 2, if you're really going to be picky about it. But hey ho, this is cool news. We weren't sure if they would, because obviously the first season was kickstarted, so it was kind of this weird, okay, so Netflix picked it up, but it was already kind of funded, like, but seemingly the last season did well enough and got enough buzz, because I think fans of MTSK are pretty vocal and talk about it on Twitter and stuff. I mean, I was at the time. I
saw loads of shit about it.
Yeah, I still have a few episodes to watch. Actually, it's the thing with Mystery Science Theater for me is I typically get through about 6 or 7 episodes, and then I'm like, okay, I need a break, and I won't watch it for a while, and then I'll go back but I always go back, but I was still like, I want to make sure there's more coming, so I'm really glad about this news. So that's coming next year, they said. And it's the kind of thing where this is a super cheap thing, comparatively speaking, to produce. Yeah. So because the movies they go after are typically the cheapest of the cheap that they can get for next to nothing.
The ones that no one cares about. I'd like to imagine some of them raise their prices. It's like, hey, you guys are interested in this, eh? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, but who else is going to buy them instead? Supply and demand.
You gotta get as high as you dare before pushing them away.
Because they'll just go, well, if we don't take it, then no one else is ever going to pay you for it anyway. So make your pick.
So it's a balancing act, isn't it?
Do you want some money or do you never want any money? I mean, that's your options here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless like a rival show comes out and they could have a bidding war, in which case, then we've got a fight. But I don't think the market can sustain.
I can't see that happening. No.
Yeah, which is fine. It's better to have it in one place. But that said, maybe they'll go after some wackier things and maybe some higher, because it would be kind of amazing to see them get something like a Birdemic. Like, no, I think that would be pricey per se, but
no, but more higher profile in the cultural awareness of these sorts of things, rather than just the random schlock.
I mean, they'd never do this because it would cost a fortune. I would love a Batman v Superman episode of Mystery Science Theater.
That'd be way too long.
Actually, that's something I should mention about the last season, is that despite the fact that they weren't on a network, they didn't have to like go to like a time slot, they somehow, all the episodes were still around 90 minutes long, or just over 90 minutes. Like they really kind of stuck to that. No movies that are over that time kind of...
I wonder if it's just because it's a drain on them to do. If it's like, oh, it's 2 hours, it's, it just takes away some of the enthusiasm and
Why are you assuming they record it in one go?
I'm not. I'm just in general. Just it adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, because they don't. It's all scripted, and I assume they record it in. It'll be like anything where you do it in a booth. It'll just be like takes.
Oh yeah. I just mean in general, like it's just more work to add on.
Oh sure.
And those poor writers who have to go through it all.
Well, to be fair, the one fun thing about Mystery Science Theater is a lot of the people doing the talking and making the jokes are the ones writing the jokes. But I mean, there's more as well that aren't there. But like the main guy who's doing the jokes with these robots, they typically, from memory, maybe there'll be some examples where they weren't, but for the most part, they were all part of the writing team who were doing the jokes. So
fair enough.
There's a funny element to it in that way. But no, I've enjoyed what I've seen in the last season. I'm looking forward to watching the rest. In fact, this news might prompt me to go, oh yeah, maybe it's time to go back off and finish that season.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you didn't have a million other things to watch.
But no, Mystery Science Theater is perfect for putting on when you're going to bed. It's that type of thing where you can put on, you can enjoy it in that kind of sort of hazy. I mean, if anything, it's better when you're in that hazy frame of mind, because the jokes that don't work just a little bit better when you're just half asleep. But no, I'm pumped. So Mystery Science Theater 2000 is coming back. I'm happy. Netflix keep doing good things. Also renewed for another season 3 specifically, The Good Place on NBC.
Cool.
13 episodes again, like the first 2 seasons. So still only seen the pilot, but cool news.
I've seen the pilot, an episode somewhere in the middle, and then the finale of season 1, which that episode prompted me to go, okay, that's on my radar to actually go and check out properly now.
I think at this point I'm waiting for it to finish so I can just binge 6 seasons of it.
But I think after just the pilot, I don't know if I ever would have bothered. But when I caught that other episode, the last episode of season 1, I was like, okay, I will watch this at some point.
Yeah. I will at some point, but now I'm like, well, I'll probably wait until it's a nice big binge to do the whole thing, or at least a significant chunk of it. Because I've got like 3 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine to watch now, or I will have when this one's finished.
I've got one and a half.
It's how I like to view comedies for the most part. But anyway, so that's cool. Also, we got a premiere date for, I don't know if you remember this, but Fox had a comedy in development called LA to Vegas. It was the plane one. It was like
yeah, I did. That
premieres January 2nd on Fox. So
cool. I think that one had potential.
Yeah, it sounded like an okay idea. It's worth mentioning as well, they've actually changed the title to actually just say 2, because before they had the arrow.
The arrow, yeah.
It's like no one knew how to say it, so let's just actually write what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think it makes sense. So got on to some casting news. We got casting news for a few things. Some of these it's because the people are noteworthy, but largely it's to say, hey, remember this show's in development because this is interesting.
Better be interesting now you said that.
Well, I mean, Billy Baldwin, who not interested in himself, has been cast in Too Old to Die Young. Do you remember what that is?
The name's familiar.
Refn.
Ah, yes.
Amazon.
That's why it's familiar.
Nicholas Winding Refn. So just to remind you what this is, written by Refn and Ed Brubaker. What a team. Starring Miles Teller. I don't remember hearing that he was in this.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you? Okay. Just my memory then. Too Old to Die Young explores the criminal underbelly of Los Angeles by following killers' existential crisis and journeys as they become samurai. Oh my god, I can't wait for this. The entire series will be directed by Refn. So good. Baldwin's character details are being kept secret, much like everyone else. They're being very close to the chest about who's doing what. Also, someone I also like everyone else who's been cast so far. Most of them don't mean anything to me, but Jenna Malone does. And
okay.
she was in Neon Demon, which makes sense. So obviously,
I haven't actually seen Neon Demon yet. I've seen most of his other works. I think all of his English-speaking ones, at least.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm very excited because he's great.
Yeah, I like Jenna Malone. I'm glad she's there, and like I say, it makes sense because she was in his last movie. Also, John Hawkes, I like. He's in it. So that's pretty cool. And they also mention Christina Rodlow, Augusto Aguilera, Aguilera. I'll just leave it there. That's good enough.
Yep.
Nell Tiger Free. Man, that's a name. Nell Tiger Free.
That's a good name.
Babs Olusanmokun. I apologise if I butchered that. And Callie Hernandez. Yes. So yeah, those names don't mean anything to me, but Jenna Malone and John Hawkes I do like, so that's good news.
Honestly, it didn't matter who they cast in.
It didn't.
It was like Refn and Rebecca. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna check this out.
I mean, honestly, I just wanted to remind everyone that this show's coming because I'm giddy for it.
We do this next year, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Good. Finally, something to put Amazon on the map.
So next up, it's more casting. This time for Blue Book. Yes, you remember this is the History Channel scripted. Robert Zemeckis exploring the Project Blue Book UFO kind of mysteries.
I do remember this one actually.
Yeah. So Michael Harney from Orange Is the New Black and Keznia Solo from Turn, Washington Spies, and In Search of Fellini. None of which I have even heard of. I don't think.
I've heard of Turn, Washington Spies.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's one thing. All right. I thought that was two.
I think so.
Two things there. But yeah, so yeah, 10-episode Blue Book chronicles the top secret US Air Force sponsored investigations into UFO-related phenomena in the 1950s and 60s, known as Project Blue Book. The series follows Dr. J. Allen Hynek, played by Aidan Gillen. I think we had that story.
Yeah, we had that one recently.
Maybe a month ago or something like that. A brilliant college professor recruited by the US Air Force to spearhead this clandestine operation that researched thousands of cases, many of which were never solved.
There's a real danger of this getting really procedural really quick.
Nah, 10 episodes like this, I doubt it. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a procedural.
Yeah. I'd hope. Just that premise there, that up to that point concerns me.
They'll have multiple cases, I'm sure, but I don't think it's going to be a procedural.
Yeah.
I think that's unfounded. You're just being cynical. Anyway, can I finish the description?
Fine.
Each episode will draw from the actual files, blending UFO theories with authentic historical events from one of the most mysterious eras in the United States history. Harney, it looks like Henry. Harney will play a USAF general who has a decorated military career. The powerful and also morally concerned general works closely with his partner, overseeing Project Blue Book, hiding the truth about UFOs from the public for reasons of national security. Whereas Solo will play Susie, a stylish, eye-catching young woman with an alluring confidence to envy. Susie is new in town when she becomes fast friends with Dr. Hynek's wife, Mimi. But as the two bond over similar interests, empowering one another, we'll soon learn that Susie is far more than she initially appears. She's an alien. She's an alien, goddammit. I'm calling it now.
Probably.
She's a goddamn alien. I'm excited.
I'm excited because I know what that means when it says an alien, but that line typically makes me go, ugh, in a show description.
Given the premise of the show, though, that line's exciting.
It is, yeah.
And 90% of shows, that line is like, oh.
Yeah, there's a rare exception where I actually get what that's going for.
Sticking with casting, this time for TNT's One Day Shall Darken. This is the Patty Jenkins directed show. This is the story of Fauna Hodel, who was given away at birth. As Fauna begins to investigate the secrets to her past, she follows a sinister trail that swirls ever closer to the infamous Hollywood gynecologist Dr. George Hodel, a man involved in the darkest Hollywood debauchery. So that's, the famous doctor who was killing people way back when. So I actually like the sound of this, and obviously Jenkins is someone to attach to it. We already had Chris Pine in it, so obviously she'd gotten some Wonder Woman collaborators.
Pulling some strings.
And once again, Connie Nelson is the one who's been cast this time, also from Wonder Woman. So she's going to play, I think, Fauna's mother. Karina Hoddle, a fading socialite beauty, an alcoholic who's seen her family shattered, her fortunes tossed to the winds. Karina finds herself a keeper of secrets, but none more fearsome than those she keeps from herself. So, that's shaping up to be a nice little thing.
It's one of those where the premise doesn't necessarily excite me, but there's talent involved in all aspects, it seems. So
I actually think I would say this premise does kind of excite me.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can see it being done poorly and see it be done like in a way that I wouldn't be interested in, but kind of in the same way that I like the premise behind Mindhunter. I feel like this, like, delving into, like, her father ends up being this famous serial killer.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm okay with it. I'm cool. So that's TNT. It's a limited series, one and done, and the cast is shaping up. Director's shaping up. Well, I say shaping up. Patty Jenkins is just a good director. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a rise of limited series in general because of, it's easy to get bigger names like that and attach them to, look, here, do one thing, that's it.
Because for them, it's basically just a longer movie schedule, and that's
exactly.
But it's just one time, so that makes sense. So, back to, again, with casting, this time for True Detective Season 3, Carmen Ejogo has been cast in the third season. So, she's going to star in it. She will play Amelia Reardon, an Arkansas schoolteacher with a connection to two missing children in 1980. Whereas Mirshahala Ali is set to play Wayne Hayes, a state police detective from Northwest Arkansas. I said that as if I've had a lisp. I've never had a lisp. That was weird. But yeah,
not
so
a good night for you.
The new season tells the story of a macabre crime in the heart of the Ozarks and a mystery that deepens over decades and plays out in 3 separate time periods. So actually, I think before we weren't sure where he was going to... Like, we knew it was 3 time periods, and we knew he was in it, but we didn't know which time period he was in, so that says that it'll be the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, actually. Maybe not.
Maybe read it again?
I mean, just because they're both from Arkansas.
Yeah, you link them.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it's probably all going to be in Arkansas if it's the same crimes connected.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
So, okay. So no, she's in the 1980s, but he could be then or he could be later.
Yeah. We don't have that much information, really, do we?
I'm cautiously optimistic about this season of True Detective. Cautiously. Very cautiously.
I'm hoping they learnt their lesson and realise that they can't just shit anything out. They've got to go back to...
I feel like there was like a writer attached to it that made us have hope, but I can't remember who it is now off the top of my head.
I vaguely remember someone brought in someone who's famous for another show, I think.
Yes, I can't remember who it was now. It's been a while since we had those stories.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're on comedies now. We're on the new shows, the comedies section. So, first up, NBC has put in development a show called American Alien. American Alien centers around Denise, Dee Dee, and Sonny Mendoza, a small-town brother and sister team who struggle to keep their working-class jobs while also protecting vulnerable space aliens from everyday pitfalls in their hometown of Tucson, Arizona. So this is like the third or fourth Alien show like this?
It is, and all of them are used, or seem to be, maybe I'm stretching with this one, but seem to be using alien as, the metaphor for immigrants.
Yes. Honestly, though, this does not come close to that CW one from a few weeks ago. The one where it's like an alien cop and he recruits 2 pizzeria girls to hunt evil aliens from a spaceship prison.
Yeah. That one was awesome.
That one sounds fantastic. I mean, this could be fine, but that other one sounds fantastic.
Again, it's this trend that keeps popping up.
Multiple trends. Like, we've had like 5 trends this season.
This is one
back.
that's...
In fact,
this is one of the earliest ones, I think, though.
Yeah, speaking of one of these trends, this is another one that's... I swear there was a plot that was almost similar to this, or almost the exact same as this from... This is maybe like an older one, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, but I remember this being a thing. Maybe it was a drama and not a comedy, this last one. But NBC's put in development 2040, and that's like 20/40, the title. Which is a relationship comedy from the Me, Myself and I team, which I've never seen, but that's the thing that's on. The comedy centres on a 20-something woman and a 40-something guy who go into a go-nowhere relationship that unexpectedly goes somewhere, bringing their generationally divided friends and family along for the ride. There was definitely one like this away, like just not too long ago.
There was, and again, the generational gap with the families. It's another trend that we're seeing this year.
Oh no, I don't think that's the same trend. Like, you're stretching that.
Do you think?
Yeah, because the generational gap with the families is more about moving in and like their conservative.
It is. I'm just assuming that this is going to play on a similar angle for whatever. I think I've just seen so many this year that I'm assuming that.
I mean, it might, but at least as it sounds just now, it sounds like it's more like an odd couple type of thing where the families can't. I mean, maybe the family, one will be liberal, one will be conservative, and that'll be.
I think that's what I'm expecting because there's got to be conflict.
But it's not there, at least.
It's not in the text. It's I'm reading the subtext.
But this is the thing. You could do this entire premise of the older friends and family clashing with the younger friends and family and having nothing to do with those values.
It could just this year. I'm just expecting it to.
It could be taste in music. Could be the thing that sets them off.
Yeah.
You know, dad rock and baby rock.
What's baby rock? Give me an example.
Well, Baby Metal is a band from Japan.
Baby Metal is a great band. Yeah.
And I enjoy the song Karate specifically.
They put on a hell of a live performance.
Baby Metal, for anyone who doesn't know what that is basically a Japanese girl pop band who happens to do all the songs to hardcore heavy metal tracks.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, so it's fusing J-pop with metal. I'm
a fan of both things.
It's a wacky idea, but it somehow works. It's kind of like, I don't know if you ever heard that mashup that someone did a few years ago of a Slipknot song with was it a Justin Bieber song? Yeah, I think it was Bieber.
Mm.
And it was
Sounds
fantastic.
Vaguely familiar.
It was fantastic. I mean, admittedly, there was no Bieber singing in it because, of course, we don't want to hear him. But it was the backing track from Bieber with the Slipknot vocals, and it sounded phenomenal.
All right, it'll work. Bieber one, it'll be the same 4 chords. They just slap anything on it. It'll work.
Just search Psychosocial Baby on the YouTubes and you will find this gem of a creation. It's fantastic.
I can hear it in my head because I know both songs. So.
So, where were we? Yes, next comedy. ABC, this is untitled, this one. Single camera. It's coming from the Life in Pieces duo, Leslie Wake Webster and Jason Weiner.
I like what I've seen of Life in Pieces.
I've never actually seen any of it myself. Also, I just want to point out that Jason Weiner, his last name, like one more N and his name would be Jason Winner. But unfortunately, he's just got the one, so now he's Jason Weiner. I love how, like, one's so positive, but the name he has is so negative sounding.
Yeah, but like, you could say, add in an E and he's Jason Weiner. Like, you can do it with all sorts.
Okay, so it could be worse, you're saying. You're saying it could be worse. I get you,
but this is the neutral.
This is neutral. No, neutral's like Jason Wine, if you take away the R.
Yeah, that's pretty neutral. This is below average, but not as bad as it could be.
It's bad, but it's not disastrous.
Yeah.
Right. The comedy is set in small-town Kentucky and centres on an overly idealistic young woman who experiences a delayed coming of age. Guided by her free-wheeling, larger-than-life father, it's told in flashback as she testifies at her father's parole board hearing. So it's basically How I Met Your Mother, but instead of telling the kids, it's telling his parole board. Like, so let me tell you about my dad.
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to be one long parole here. Is this the whole... I mean, I think if they, like, went into this with, like, okay, no, that's only going to be season 1. Like, season 2 would be a different, like, setup. Like, a different, bookend.
Different reason for telling the story.
It'd be a different location for the story, yeah.
Yeah.
Different framing device. That was the phrase I was looking for, framing device. And I kept just giving me bullshit substitutes until I found the right one.
Oh, this is going to go on way longer than it should, this episode.
That wasn't that long. long.
No, not on its own, but...
Oh, right, so I've kind of buried the headline comedy.
What have you done that for?
Well, because I wanted it next to the big dramas, which are usually the headlines. So my idea was to push it back to that sort of section.
It was a shit idea, but come on. What we got?
Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah, this.
Oh, you'd forgotten about this, had you?
It was days ago.
So, it was days ago, I'd forgotten about it. So, this is the DC Warner Brothers digital platform. The one that's bringing us Titans, the one that's bringing us Young Justice Season 3, that's launching next year. They have ordered their 3rd show, which is a good sign. It's a sign that they're going to keep pumping out. I'll tell you this, though. Televisions from the multiverse is just... That's safe.
We're sorted.
That's got content forever with this service launching. So... Yeah, so Harley Quinn is an animated show. They've ordered 26 episodes, half-hour adult animated action comedy. So it's going to have adult jokes in it, sex
It's going
jokes,
to be
and
modern Harley Quinn, is what they're saying.
yeah, going to have some risque material. And it's coming from the powerless executive producers of Justin Halpern and Patrick Schumacher, which I actually enjoyed what I watched of Powerless. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, but I didn't dislike it.
No, I thought it was getting better every episode.
It was, and then no one watched it and it got cancelled really quickly. But which is a shame.
I think it's interesting though that this just tells me there's people at Warner Bros. Who were at least liked what they did with the ideas and the concepts with the characters.
I'll tell you this, even if you don't want to watch Powerless, look up the opening title sequence. Any DC fan should enjoy watching that. It's like 30 seconds long, just watch it. It's a fun little intro.
It's amazing. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what got them this gig.
That's true. It's animated. That's a fair point. Yeah. So they've ordered 26 episodes, 26 episode season. Apparently, the writer at Deadline who was writing this was saying, I don't know what his sources are, but he said he's heard that Warner Bros. Are actually going to ask Margot Robbie to voice it.
Really interesting.
Yeah. Now, there's no actual official word yet. Apparently, she's not even been approached yet. But apparently,
not my ideal choice still. But
no, I would rather go with one of the actual animated actors. You know what I mean. The voiceover actors who have done it in the past.
Tara Strong, please.
Tara Strong being the first one who comes to mind, obviously.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that. Whatever. I mean, I'd be fine with her doing it. It's okay, but not the first one that comes to mind.
Like I say, I think Tara Strong's the ideal choice, and she still has that working relationship with Warner Bros. Animation.
Yeah, and obviously they're bringing her back for like Gotham City Sirens, maybe Suicide Squad 2, so they're going to keep her in the camp. And the thing with an animated show is, it's 26 episodes, but that's like, 3 weekends for an actor to do all the voice work for?
Yeah, it's not that big an ask.
Yeah, it's an easy job for almost. So, a little bit here. Harley Quinn, based on DC Comics characters, focuses on Harley Quinn. I feel like that is a stupid sentence. Yeah, what's the point of that? Who finally has broken things off with the Joker once and for all and attempts to make it on her own as the criminal queenpin, that was also bad, of Gotham City. So, it's not quite anti-hero Harley Quinn per se, but it seems to be veering towards that direction.
Yeah, it seems similar to the Gotham City Sirens comic. Maybe obviously they're not mentioning, or are they?
Harley Quinn, which will also feature Poison Ivy and a whole cast of heroes and villains, old and new from the DC universe, is the third series greenlighted for this DC digital platform, which I still have a name for.
Greenlighted? Would it not be greenlit? I'm not calling you out on that. I'm calling.
Oh yeah, it says greenlighted. I said, but they.
Yeah. I know you're just reading it. Like, you're not thinking about it, but Colin, would it not be greenlit?
I agree. Actually, I'd rate greenlit. That's what I would put if I was writing that sentence.
I wonder if this is like a hanged thing where it's hanged and not hung.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is one of those, and I just don't know about it.
Greenlighted.
Sounds wrong.
Now you've pointed out, it does sound wrong. I just read what was there, but it sounds wrong. Now you've pointed it out.
I'll give you this one. I'm not blaming you.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad they're adding more stuff. I'd be curious to see if they had a second live action show soon as well.
Yeah, I'm even if they just do a lot of animated stuff, I'm down for that because it might be just easier for them. If it's one live action show and then.
Well, no. See, here's how I would map this out. Given that it's just DC content, right, and they'll have maybe their back catalogue, I would suggest, because they always want people to be signed up, that they should always have one live action series ongoing, assuming they're doing one a week, right? It's not a binge, because it would be stupid for them to do a binge thing with only a few shows like this. But let's say they're doing one a week of Titans, that's like 13 weeks, say, if they're doing 13 episodes. I'm just making a guess, for argument's sake here. I would have a second live action show to start when Titans finishes, and you'd always have one animated show and one live action show at least. Maybe you'd have 2 or 3 animated shows because they're arguably easier to do.
Well, the animated ones are easy because, I mean, even with just the 2 they've got now, they're covering the year.
True. So maybe you have like 2 animated shows and a live action show at any one time. Idea.
Yeah, no,
that'd be the smart thing to do. So hopefully maybe we get an announcement, because obviously we're getting relatively closer and closer now to where, maybe this is launching in like March or April, and that's when Titans is going to start.
We don't know yet, but it can't be too far.
Yeah, they've cast a lot of the roles for Titans, so they must be filming it.
They have to have Titans ready at launch, surely.
Yeah, otherwise you don't have a launch.
Yeah.
You've got nothing to. It's like a games console
mean,
launching with like no games.
see this gen for most consoles.
Yes, well, go on.
I'm just saying. But the thing is, I can see them maybe deciding to hold Titans off a little bit and launching with Young Justice, just because that already has a fan base. If assuming they're not launching everything to them together, Young Justice has a fan base pre-established. They've got interest already.
But I feel like they want a big launch. I don't think Young Justice brings in.
I agree. Yeah,
it doesn't whereas Titans might bring in people who just watch the CW shows and go, "Oh, another DC show."
It. Yeah, exactly. It's a dilemma because it depends. Do they want them both on at the same time? Like we're saying, if they do that, I can see an argument for either way. I think it's the easier argument is Titans. If it's not ready, then Young Justice might do.
I think just having an animated show on is the only thing that's going on week to week does not justify the price of the service. I don't even know what the price is. It doesn't matter what the price is.
I think it depends what else is in the service. Like really, like how packed is this thing?
It'll just be the DC back catalogue. They already revealed that it's not going to be like a DC Unlimited thing for the comics like Marvel. So we know it is just DC shows and movies. So
no, you're right.
Best case scenario, you've got all the past movies and TV shows, and which is okay, but it's not necessarily worth a subscription on its own.
I agree. I think they're okay not having a live action show like constantly. Like if they have 2 a year, maybe. I think they could get away with that, but they probably do need one for launch if they want to make a big launch, which presumably they do.
The smart thing would to always have one, I think, going.
I think that would be the smart thing, but I think that might not be feasible at first, based on the fact that we've heard nothing about any other live action show right now. So I don't know if they can have one ready for after Titans.
I don't think there's anything that's unfeasible about it. I mean, let's say it's 13 episodes. You need 4 a year.
Yeah. I just mean, depending on when they're going to launch this, and we haven't heard anything yet about a post Titans. We know Titans must be getting close to shooting at the very least because it's got a lot of cast going for it now. We need to start hearing about a next one soon, assuming this is launching in the first half of next year.
Oh, sure, yeah, but based on what I'm just saying, in general, it's not unfeasible to have always
no.
a show going.
I don't think it is either, just not at first. It might be, depending if we don't hear something soon, it's not going to happen.
Because imagine if Netflix, right, and obviously they have a lot more stuff, right, but imagine if Netflix didn't binge their stuff. Imagine if they've released everything weekly. Like, they'd have, 8 to 9 shows on at any given time, probably.
Yeah.
They'd have
to launch every day of the week.
Yeah, they'd have a schedule. They'd have Monday nights you get a Mindhunter, or Tuesday nights you get a Glow, and maybe 2 comedies on a Tuesday, and then Wednesday you'd get The Crown or whatever. They'd have a schedule.
They'd legitimately feel like a TV channel where you'd have something every night of the week.
Yeah, multiple probably at this point, given how much they're launching. Yeah. So. And obviously, I don't expect that from this, but I feel like just the idea of having at least the one new big episode of something a week is the I think a reasonable expectation if they're asking for $5 a month for this thing.
Yeah, they definitely can't go too long without something.
Yeah, because I can see them being like, okay, so Titans is finished. Okay, our next thing's ready in 2 months. So, but that's 2 months where I may as well just cancel the subscription for 2 months then, because
I assume assuming they're not just having something ready for straight after Titans. I think they're banking on you signing up for Titans, checking out Young Justice, and going, "Hey, I like Young Justice as well, and I'll stick around for that while I wait for the next one in 2 months." I can see that being part of their idea.
My worry though is that they'll have one thing on at any given time, but it'll alternate between the animated and the live action. And I'm not putting down the animated stuff. I'm looking forward to that, but I don't think it's enough to feel like it's worth the service to have one episode of a Young Justice a week.
Okay, yeah. Personally, I'm looking forward to Young Justice more than I am Titans because I know what to expect.
Oh, that's fair, but
But as just in terms of sellability, and to the public,
yeah,
it's not the same, is it?
I mean, what 25 minutes of an animated show once a week for?
Yeah, unless they put them out in 2s.
Okay, sure. So, 50 minutes of an animated show, 4 times a month, for $5. It feels a bit in the slim side. I know, yeah, there's the back catalogue, but the back catalogue's like a perk on top of the...
I think this is going to be a problem, regardless. Even with 2 shows, to a lot of people, is 2 shows worth another subscription?
I think for DC fans it would be, because I feel like the live action one feels like the one the money's really going to.
Right. For the people who are the DC fans who are going, oh, Titans, yeah, I need to see that. But to the people who, like you say, they're the fan of the CW shows, is, let's even assume it's, $5-6, on the cheap side.
Here's what they do. Obviously, you have your past seasons of all your CW shows, as much as contracts will allow, because obviously they have deals with various places and countries. So
yeah, I don't know about their deals, because obviously they've already got deals in place with Netflix for the end of the season and goes on there then.
Yeah, it goes straight up there. I feel like what will probably end up happening is that they'll have past seasons, but they'll be like another year behind. So you get like say season 1 and 2 of Flash, for example, right now, but you wouldn't get season 3 until...
Yeah, I can see that.
It'll be that kind of thing, probably. Here's what I think they do, though, is they'll have whatever they can back season-wise, the CW shows, and what they might do is I could see them doing, like, how, like Stranger Things and like Walking Dead have, like, the post-shows?
Oh, the after shows.
Yeah, I can see them doing that, where they'll have a couple of the cast members sitting on a couch and talk to them about the episode that just aired. And it'll be, after you've watched Flash on CW, go over to the DC app and watch that.
No, that's true.
That's cheap and easy.
It is.
And you can do that 4 or 5 nights a week with whatever shows are on.
It's kind of crazy that Netflix have only just started that. The Stranger Things one's the first one that they've done that for.
It's really weird for me. I mean, well, it's not that weird, because people come and kind of use us for that as well. But
yeah,
it's weird to me, like, from their perspective of, like, I mean, do people actually, like, watch episode 1 of Stranger Things and then go over to the after show before they watch episode 2?
Well, I think what's really interesting is with the Netflix ones, they don't actually advertise the after show till after you finish the season of Stranger Things.
I never actually watched it. Is it just like an after season thing?
I don't know.
Is it episode by episode?
I just know that it didn't show up until after I finished the season. It went...
After season makes more sense to me in a Netflix show, especially since it can just be like an hour-long thing where they all sit down and have a bit of a Q&A.
This is the thing. I get it. I know, like, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, they have them. I understand it where you watch that episode and then you want to talk about that episode and go, we'll speculate about it next week. But I think it's strange with a Netflix one where I go, well, I could watch that, or I could watch the next episode.
Yeah, but people do it with us.
They do it with us.
We speculate with the next episode. We
do
that.
But
why are you questioning it?
No, I think we choose to limit ourselves to, we go, right, 1 a day. We don't watch ahead. I just don't. I assume a lot of people will just click next episode of Stranger Things when that's the option, when that's what it advertises and tells you up next.
Yeah. Well, that's their fault for not putting it in their face. But maybe it's not something you watch until the end of the season, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it must be.
This could all be a moot speculation, especially when people have already had it for weeks at this point.
Yeah, we could have checked this.
Well, I didn't know we were going to talk about it. This is your fault. Well, it's my fault. I brought up after shows.
You brought. I was going to say, don't blame me on this one.
Yeah, but you went down this weird path. Like, I was fine. Where I made the point I was going to mention, and that was it. It was fine. It was a done deal.
Honestly, I don't remember what your point was anymore.
But they'll do after shows for the CW shows as a incentive.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it for the animated stuff as well. Like, because I know Star Wars for Rebels, they do a similar thing.
Yeah,
like
they could do that. I could see bonus content, like like the featurettes, maybe commentary tracks for stuff will be on there.
Yeah, the sort of stuff you typically get on the home release.
Yeah, I could see that all being there. It's the same for older stuff. Also, maybe one selling point would be, you'll get past seasons of the CW shows, but if you happen to care, you also get past seasons of Gotham. Like, stuff that's on different networks would all be coming here eventually.
Yeah, like one service.
One home. I can see an appeal in that. They could get some really obscure stuff on there that's kind of missing. And me and Cara just discovered there was a Swamp Thing TV show once upon a time.
Because we were looking up things for extras for Multiverse.
Yeah, because we were thinking, okay, so we'll probably do like these shows over the Christmas break when the actual shows aren't on, and we were sort of like, okay, so these are the options. We listed all the obvious things, the Lois and Clark, your Wonder Woman, your 50s Superman, and all the various things that you could think of. and we said, is there any that were not mentioned? And we looked up, and obviously we mentioned some, because the first Flash show is not exactly that common to know about, but we mentioned that. It's a little bit rarer. One season, not a big thing. Birds of Prey, one season, not a big thing. And obviously it's like, Swamp Thing? Was a Swamp, and it's like, 3 seasons? There was a Swamp Thing show that ran 3 seasons? When did this happen?
I think we looked into it, and like, the first 2 seasons were quite short. The third season was really long.
Yeah, it was a USA Network show, and season 1 and 2 got a DVD release like years and years and years ago, and then season 3 finally got one like 2 years ago. It was like season 1 and 2 got like DVD releases in like 2004 or 5, and then season 3 didn't come out until like 2014. It was like,
yeah, it's strange.
But yeah, so we didn't know that existed. That was news to us.
I honestly had no idea.
That's something that we may do as an extra one day on television for the multiverse. The problem is that it's a really bitch to get a hold of, so don't expect it anytime
else,
soon.
I'd like to do the first episode
just to see what it's like. Yeah.
I just need to know.
What does Swamp Thing look like in this low budget USA show?
I'm terrified, but I need to see it.
Because it was like 1990, wasn't it? So it's like cheap 1990
early 90s
show. Like I don't. How could their Swamp Thing look good? I don't imagine.
Flash looked rough.
Oh dear. Anyway, we'll pull this back round. Second animated show. I'm glad they're announcing more shows because it did feel kind of weird that there was just the 2 for such a long time.
Yeah.
So hopefully they announce another live action show soon, and maybe even some more animated stuff, and see what they're thinking. I do like the idea though that after a couple of years they will have a suite of shows to like kind of like be like,
I
okay.
agree. I think it's going to be this case of the start of the service is going to be the hard part to get over for them.
Yeah, but I feel like if we get to a point where they legitimately have like 5 or 6 live action shows that they're rotating through, every like however often it would be, and they have X amount of animated shows, I feel like this could potentially be kind of exciting if they're good. Like the quality could be dire. Like that would be the big.
I think what's interesting about this specific announcement is the audience. That it's going to a different audience than Young Justice, it seems. Whereas Young Justice is very much more family friendly.
Yeah, which is why I would suggest that this is maybe meant to run the same time.
It might well be,
because that would be weird if you had Young Justice and then you switch to this and it's adult content.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how is 2 shows, even if we're gonna get it, like is 2 shows enough to justify it to most people, but 3 starts looking a bit more like you're getting your money's worth.
You've got a family-friendly cartoon, you've got an adult-oriented one, and then you've got your PG-13 live-action show. Like you've got your kind of...
You get a bit for everyone.
Yeah, but a bit of basis. So I think Joe, I think they should announce next. If I was to if I was running the service,
if you were doing this, right,
and
what would you do?
They said we want another live-action show, and at least if I said okay, the next thing has to be live-action, we did another live-action show, another big heavy hitter, and they said okay. What should the one live action show be to add to this bouquet of shows that we've got so far? These 3, I would go with something again a bit more adult oriented. I'd maybe go with a Swamp Thing, something that's not like a DC superhero. I'd go with something like a Swamp Thing, or maybe a Vertigo series of some kind, like something with a bit more like. So you've got your Titans, but then you want your HBO swearing
yeah.
show.
Do you know what? I can see him giving a shot at some point. Another Constantine.
I could. I don't really want that, but yeah, I agree.
I want that, but in the sense that there's after the movie and the show, there's a public awareness of this at least now.
Yeah,
that it might be enough as a draw.
I could also maybe see. I don't know, Gotham Central. I mean, admittedly, maybe it's too similar to Gotham as an idea, but I feel like an actual gritty cop show in Gotham would maybe be something they could do.
No, I can see it.
That could work.
I think the easy thing they'll do is maybe spin something out of Titans. Like Nightwing.
The Question.
I'd be down for that.
Give me a Question TV show with Renee Montoya.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
The problem is that they'll probably want to stick to a bit more recognisable names for the first bit at least.
For the first bit, I feel like after a while though, that part of the charm of this will be they can elevate characters.
No, I agree. I think the first couple of shows there will be a lot safe. Like Titans is okay, it's a bit risky, but it's
I don't think it'll be I mean, if it's a spin-off of Titans, I don't think it'll be they take Dick and make a Nightwing. I mean, I think they might do that eventually, but I feel like for the second live action show, you want something that feels different to the first one.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I mean, I could see them setting up the second show in Titans.
I mean, when I say they could still do it and feel different, like that, have So the Titans is, the more, like the superheroics and stuff, and then take Nightwing and throw him into Gotham and kind of do the more gritty, grounded stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like it still feels like it lacks a bit of variety because you're just taking
it does.
Because especially since Titans, they've said flat out Dick Grayson's the lead. He's the leader.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. It's my least favorite idea.
So I feel like
it's one I can see potentially happening.
I think they go different with the second live action show. It has to be something that appeals to maybe again a slightly different audience, which is why I don't think it'll be superheroes necessarily. Or at least that's what I would pick. I would pick something that's a bit more ethereal, but something a bit different.
No, I'm with you.
Possibly darker.
Yeah.
That'd be my idea. So no, so we actually spent a long time in that. But yeah, Harley Quinn animated show.
Because they never give us any news about this damn service.
So let's move on. So we're still in comedies here, but we're here with Netflix now. Netflix have ordered a series of a comedy starring the legendary rapper Joseph Rev Run Simmons and his wife Justine. It is untitled. It is multi-camera, which is odd for Netflix. It will follow the legendary rapper whose plans for slowing down are thwarted when his wife Justine decides to pursue her own dreams. While Rev and Justine have starred in several reality shows over the years, this is their first scripted family sitcom playing characters loosely inspired by themselves. Simmons, of course, I mean, I'm glad they said this because I didn't know, I'd never heard of this Rev Run fellow. Simmons was a founding member of Run DMC and originally performed under the name DJ Run, which I have heard of that. So I'm glad they specified that this is the same person because I would never have known Rev Run.
Yeah.
And he's also, I love how it just tags on at the end of that paragraph. He is also a practicing minister. But Rev Run makes more sense now.
It does, yeah. I didn't know that.
That's why it used to be DJ Run. Now it's Reverend Run. Excellent.
Got to play into your gimmick.
And apparently this was actually originally sold to ABC last year with a pilot order, but despite being well received, ultimately wasn't ordered, so they went elsewhere. So now it's on Netflix. Doesn't sound like a Netflix show, but
no.
Hey-ho. But
yeah, it sounds alright.
They like to diverse their content, so this is again something different.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm not particularly excited, but at the same time, like, you've got someone from Run DMC who became a reverend, and this is kind of based on his life. I mean,
there'll be some wacky stories in there, right?
I would imagine so. I really hope it's called Walk This Way. Or Talk This Way. Well, whatever one they think. I feel like Walk's better because it's about the wife wanting to do her own thing now.
Yeah.
So Walk This Way feels like it works better. So that's my guess for the title. Sticking with Netflix, also a comedy. This one's much closer though. This one's actually already aired in CTV Canada, or it's airing now in CTV Canada. This is called The Indian Detective. It is a 4-part comedy, so it's quite short for a comedy. But it stars comedian Russell Peters in his first leading role. And it's going to come in Netflix on December 19th for everyone but Canada. Or everywhere else but Canada. Peters is a Canadian of Indian descent. He plays Doug DeMello, a Toronto cop who unexpectedly finds himself investigating a murder in his parents' Indian homeland. The investigation leads Doug to uncover a dangerous conspiracy involving David Marlowe, played by William freaking Shatner, a billionaire property developer, while dealing with his own ambivalence towards a country where, despite his heritage, he is an outsider. And on top of that description, we also get a trailer for this show. So we both watched that. I will say, I think the description sounds much more exciting than the trailer is.
Yeah, definitely.
The trailer is very weird. Like, I feel like it wants to create this sense of excitement, like it's a cop show and he's searching for a murderer, and there's this crime boss that played by William Shatner. Which, by the way, I watched the trailer before reading the description, so I was not expecting Shatner. I shat myself, no pun intended, when William Shatner appeared on screen. Why are you shaking your head?
Oh, you know why I'm shaking my head.
That was fine. I mean, it looks fine, but it feels so laxed, the trailer.
I'm not gonna lie, the comedy wasn't working for me at all.
The comedy, I wasn't feeling the comedy. My bigger problem, though, because I feel like the comedy in context might be fine. Like trailers,
well, maybe there was a moment that like he goes to do something. I can't remember what exactly he says, and the girl walks away, and the sound actually goes Like does that sort of sound effect.
Yeah.
And I went, ugh.
And I don't know, there's something really off, like, paced about it. Like, it feels...
Maybe it is just in the trailer, but the comedy and the action do not match up at all on this trailer. Like, they're just completely out of place with each other.
Yeah, I just appeared, actually. I went off camera and then just pammed back on the screen.
Magic
of Eden. But, yeah, it's... I don't know. I'm not feeling the trailer at all, I have to admit.
Like that description, if I just heard that, I'd be like, yeah, I want to check this out.
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea of him going back to India, and he's never... I mean, maybe he's been there, but he's never lived there. He's got an American accent, or Canadian accent, I should say. He's got a Canadian accent, and like he feels kind of outsider, but like he ends up helping to solve this murder, and William Shatner's there being evil. This sounds like a fun time, but the trailer just feels so... It feels so low budget as well, I guess. Which feels cruel to say, because I shouldn't really care about that if the writing's good, but that doesn't feel great either, just from the trailer. But
yeah, I really wasn't feeling the trailer that much.
I don't know. Maybe we'll watch the first episode and see if it's any good.
Maybe.
I don't know. So it's a good time for it.
I suppose it is.
So let's go on to the dramas then. So first up, we have HBO, who has greenlit a series called Mexico City, Only Good Things Happen. It's a half-hour Spanish comedy. Oh, no, we're not on dramas. We're still on comedies. I'm sorry. I seen HBO. I assume we're on dramas. The next one's a drama, but this is the last comedy.
All right, go on then.
So it comes from... it's a pilot they've ordered specifically. It comes from Saturday Night Live alum Fred Armisen. It is a Spanish-language show, co-written by Armisen and Ana Fabrija, and Julio Torres, also from Saturday Night Live. The comedy is set in a dreamy version of present-day Mexico City and follows a group of friends obsessed with horror films and monster makeup. And all three of those writers have roles in it as well.
Okay, sounds all right.
I wasn't necessarily feeling it until they mentioned the horror films and the monster makeup, and all of a sudden I am very curious.
Still cautious. I'm yet to see a HBO comedy that I like, but they've got to hit one eventually.
Of course, Connor's not watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, the Philistine he is.
Every time.
I'll tell you what else is every time. I always make references to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Is that it? That's your reference? You're referencing you referencing it.
There was nothing obvious that I could remember coming up that was going to let me do it. So I thought I'll take the weird.
No. You can't reference yourself referencing it as your reference to it. That's not how this works.
I can reference myself referencing while I reference.
This is getting into a loop, and stop it. Doesn't count.
What? You say it counts or it doesn't count as if I care? When I've made my reference, you've made your face at me.
It just doesn't happen. That one doesn't count as a reference.
I've done it. It's fine. We're good. So let's move on to the dramas officially. Amazon, being up first, they have acquired the rights to a French drama called Black Spot, and it means they're going to distribute it worldwide for the most part. A couple of countries not counting, which is Denmark, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. And I'd imagine France as well, given that it comes from France. They probably have it on their own service.
One would assume, yeah.
But it'll roll out on Amazon Prime Video in 2018 for just about everywhere else on the planet that has Amazon. The series takes place in, oh god, a French place. Villefranche.
Villa French. Is that what you just said?
Villefranche.
Oh.
I'll tell you right now, I cannot do French words at all. I do not get them. I don't understand them. I don't understand how they're pronounced at all. This is Villefranche.
I'll stop listening after VI.
Villefranche.
I would assume the Vil is silent. The E is silent, so it would just be Vil.
Okay. Villefranche. Villefranche.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's a small isolated town in the middle of a gigantic forest where Lorraine Weiss, I probably butchered that, but I feel more confident about it. A strong local cop who was kidnapped 20 years ago is investigating a crime that leads her to find details on her own abduction. I feel like that sentence didn't make it clear that she was... Like, it almost sounds like she's been kidnapped for 20 years, and then I had to think about it and went, oh no, she was kidnapped 20 years ago and got out, and now, like, she's got on a case that's lean back to
also,
what happened.
Wouldn't she then immediately get removed from this case because she's too close? It's like, right, okay, we need someone more objective.
Well, it says it leads to that. So
yeah, but once it gets to that point, it'll be like, okay, you're off.
Assuming she tells anyone about it, she might keep it secret and go rogue.
That's true.
This is just you being cynical again. You look for the faults in things.
I do. We know this by now, though.
I think it sounds okay. I'm down to try that. That's
poorly worded description aside, it's not bad.
Yeah, 2018. Sometime, so yeah, Amazon bringing us more stuff. I'm cool with it. So Netflix next, they are teaming with the producer of Narcos, Dynamo, that is, for the first ever Netflix Colombian original series, which is coming in 2019. So it's written by Carlos Contreras, El Chapo, I Dream of Another Language, or I Dream in Another Language. Sorry, I've never heard of either of those. Well, I've heard of El Chapo actually, but I've never seen either of those. The untitled series will follow a young detective and her partner deep into the Amazon. It's a shame this isn't on Amazon because they could make some puns with the marking. Deep into the Amazon on the border of Brazil and Colombia to investigate a series of bizarre murders. My inflection was weird wrong. That was the end of the sentence.
That...
During the film, it's because I stopped in the middle of the sentence to give my opinion on something or crack a joke.
Yeah.
So
do you want to try the end of that sentence again?
Okay, I'll just the yet untitled series will follow a young detective and her partner deep into the Amazon on the border of Brazil and Colombia to investigate a series of bizarre murders. They soon realise that there's more mystery to the jungle than the deaths, as they encounter an enigmatic indigenous tribe with an incredible secret that they will take great risks to protect.
Okay.
I see potential.
A lot depends on what route this secret that they're protecting is. That what route they go down for that will greatly vary my opinion of
is
this.
It supernatural secrets?
Yeah, or is it just, oh hey, there's a bunch of cannibals in the woods? I hope it's not that.
I mean, that could be good. Well, it could be fine. The problem is you're thinking of Green Inferno, which is not fine. That movie was terrible.
I've had the misfortune of seeing the trailer, and I never want to watch any more.
I'll tell you this right now. Green Inferno, I won't tell you what it is just in case anyone cares about spoilers for that stupid movie, but there's a mid-credit scene.
Seriously?
And the mid-credit scene adds this whole new dynamic to the movie that didn't need to be there. It was so random and out of left field that seriously.
You're telling me about this after that.
Oh sure, absolutely. But yeah, no, I'm kind of into this. I'm not super pumped about it, but I like the idea of investigating a murder in the forest. And
yeah, I like the idea if they go down the supernatural route. If it's like, is it supernatural, or do they just think it is?
Or is it a monster? Is it like King Kong? Yeah. Was a tribe worshipping?
Exactly.
Something?
That's what I mean. What this secret is and what angle they play it really affects how excited I am for this. Because I mean, the detective murder stuff that could be fine. You can do a lot of good shows like that. But when I know there's potentially something more, that's going to be the focus for me. I need to know what that's going to be before I determine how excited I get.
Sticking with Netflix, they are teaming up with Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan, who I've seen one of his movies actually. He was in a movie called My Name Is... Oh, that's going to bug me. Oh, My Name Is Khan. It was My Name Is Khan. It was his actual name.
I've heard of that. It's meant to be like a really big one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically, it was a post 9/11. I mean, it was about a decade later, but it was like a post 9/11 movie about how after 9/11 there was so much assumptions because of your race and where you were from, if you were maybe a terrorist, that when the movie was made, say 2010, I want to say. Like the stories about him coming to the US, and he wants to meet Obama, who at the time was president, and just tell him that he's not a terrorist. That's his goal. But a lot of it's about his journey and everything he encounters on the way.
Yeah, I assumed as much.
Yeah, but it was an okay movie. It was fine. It was over long. it was like 3.5 hours long. It was a trek.
Oh boy.
So was his journey. His journey was a trek, but you know,
you didn't need to feel the trek quite that much.
That said, Obama was there at the end of the movie. I mean, unless it was like just really good effects and body doubles, but I'm sure they got a cameo from Obama.
He seemed like he was open to that sort of stuff.
Which during his actual presidency seems like, you're asking a lot. Like, here, take some time out of your schedule to be in a movie.
Yeah.
So, that said, the current president would take as much time as he wants out of his bloody job to go and do stupid things.
I mean, I don't know about that. You clearly didn't see his tweet earlier today about I think it was Time magazine.
Oh no, I saw the tweet. I saw the tweet.
He was a bit wary about taking time out of his schedule to do a photo shoot. So.
And then, did you see Time's response to this? Oh,
I didn't. No.
No, they said the president is incorrect. We do not discuss who's going to be the person of the year until we publish it on December 6th.
No. Man brackets person of the year. Let's use his words.
That's how he put it, of course.
I know.
Yes.
I know. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
I feel like Time themselves should be person of the year, and that tweet saying he's incorrect should just be the.
That's the headline.
That's the image.
That's the front cover.
Yeah. That's what it should do. So anyway,
it's a bit self-gratifying, but I'll allow it.
So yeah, Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan with Netflix. They're producing an 8-episode political espionage series called Bard of Blood. I like that title.
I like that. Yeah.
Based on the best-selling book from 2015 of the same name by Bilal Siddiqui. The multilingual series, I should say. As it's funny that I mispronounced the word multilingual. That's actually kind of funny.
It is.
It'll be in Urdu, English, and Hindi, amongst other languages, which is actually a lot like that movie, My Name is Khan. I remember that being in like 4 languages. Like, 'cause some of it was in English, but some of it wasn't. It was kind of like...
Makes sense.
Just depending on where he was at the time. It's set in the Indian subcontinent. It will follow Kabir Anand, an expelled spy who is recalled from his new life as a Shakespeare professor to save his country and his long-lost love. The series will feature intricate, highly stylized action sequences. I'm kind of into this as an idea, especially if that last part about the action sequences means Bollywood-style action sequences. Because I don't know if you've seen any clips from a Bollywood action movie.
I've never watched a full Bollywood movie, but I've seen some action
I saw
sequences.
One whilst I was in college. I went to see one with some friends, and it was the most absurd thing I'd ever seen, but it was hilarious. And I hope that's what this is going to end up being. I hope I hope this is the most ridiculous action ever. Because the plot sounds really kind of like cliche, like long lost love. Like I'm almost getting like a cliche vibe from it. Anyway.
I got more interested when you hit the Shakespeare stuff, and then the title made a bit more sense.
I feel like the Shakespeare thing is just going to be so he can crack some wacky one-liners, the Shakespeare related.
For that.
Like I feel like that's all that's going to be. If that ends up being silly, like I think it's going to be, then I'm kind of for this.
I think what they need to do is have the plot mirror some of Shakespeare's plays and kind of be like, hey, he's like, oh, hey, this is like this out of this one. What
Shakespeare play has someone coming back out of retirement to save his love and the world?
I'll find one.
Yeah. I mean, if it is a serious show, I mean, it might still be good, but like I'm kind of hoping for silly. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Which reminds me, I want to watch that Russian Avengers movie.
Oh yeah, that one looks. Is that the one with the bear?
The one with the big bear, and then you've got there's like a speedster or something. One of the characters.
I honestly don't remember anything except the bear. The bear kind of overrides everything else about that movie. I'm like, there's a bear.
It's called Guardians, if I recall correctly.
That sounds right.
That's a 121 in flux in the making. I don't mean saying that.
Well, I mean, you say that, but you might want to save that for a commentary down the line.
Oh, sure, yeah. That can't be the first watch, though.
No.
Can't do a commentary in the first watch. You're too busy reacting to things in the first watch.
That said, getting your raw reactions to something like that might be hilarious.
My raw reactions. That was fantastic. Don't you even...
God.
I only thought of that because I almost thought you were saying raw until you just kind of ended it normally.
So you realised I wasn't doing that.
Alright, sticking with no one. We're on a new network. HBO, Cinemax, and Sky Atlantic are teaming up for a show called Gangs of London, which I'll read you the description and then I'll tell you why it's actually exciting.
I was going to say, because that doesn't sound...
No. The drama, which will launch in 2019, is set in contemporary London as it is being torn apart by a power struggle involving several international gangs. The series begins as the head of one of the criminal gangs is assassinated and the power vacuum threatens the fragile peace between the other underworld organisations. First of all, that's a little bit like The Warriors. Secondly, except that it's set like a sort of present day world. But the reason why...
generic.
Do you want to know why this is exciting though?
Yeah, please, because at the minute I'm going, okay, it sounds fine, but... Who's involved?
Directed by...
Oh, go on.
The director of The Raid and The Raid 2, Gareth Evans.
And now I'm more interested.
So now, with that name, I can see like each of the gangs having their own like dress code. So I can see like the English gang being all in tracksuits, and then you've got the German gang in whatever.
German things.
Yeah, German things. I can see like a French gang all wearing berets and but I can just see the over the top action. Like this is like I don't know how serious this is going to be, but part of me wants this again to be as silly as shit.
I agree. The problem is that description makes it sound very serious.
I don't know. International gangs makes me think they're all going to be themed. Maybe that's just wishful thing.
So. But I really hope so.
That's the thing is though, is even if it's not that silly, right? Gareth Evans does great action sequences, so it'll be worth watching anyway. And even The Raid 2 is very darkly funny at moments, even though it's pretty serious otherwise. So if it has that tone, I'll be fine with that. That'll be pretty cool.
That's fair. I've not seen the second one yet.
I think the second one's better than the first one.
I hear that a lot, and it's on my to-watch list. I mean, I guess we'll have to flux them at some point.
It's a touch long, but I think it's just better overall. Better fight scenes, better moments, that kind of thing. Definitely funnier.
I think that's going on the list for the flux.
Sure.
I mean, admittedly, they both do, though.
Next up, we have a show. This is actually kind of funny the way this is. This one's kind of set up. So NBC Universal Cable Entertainment is developing a show, and you're saying, wait a minute, what does that mean exactly? Well,
yes.
Not only does I would have speculated what they actually said here, but I wouldn't have expected them to say this. But I would have probably said this is probably what this means. But they actually said is in the article this is what it means. Basically, they're developing this show, and if they order it to pilot, then they will decide if it's a USA Network show or a sci-fi show.
Okay.
But they've not decided yet.
I like that idea.
Yeah, but it's for one or the other. They just don't know which yet. But yeah, so they've ordered a pilot. So they've ordered the pilot. So I mean if they order it to series. So they've ordered a pilot for a supernatural thriller called Run for Your Life. And it comes as well from Blumhouse. Now, if you're not familiar with Blumhouse, they basically have a monopoly right now on horror movies because they produce...
I was going to say, if you're not familiar with Blumhouse, you haven't seen a horror movie in the last decade.
Yeah, last 5 years, I'd say more like. But
all right, fine. I'm exaggerating for dramatic effect. Just go with it.
But yeah, so that's interesting. I like the idea. So Run for Your Life is centered on the last night of Dia de los Muertos, aka Day of the Dead. And yes, I've heard that pronounced before, which is why I nailed it, just for the record. Good. When a grieving detective is thrust into a deadly game to bring someone back from the dead. Should the pilot be ordered, it will be put on one of those two shows. So there's not a lot of a description there.
No. I actually think this is an interesting way of them ordering this pilot. They're kind of going, okay, we like this premise, but we're not sure where's the best home until we see it. And
the funny thing is I can see it. I can actually see it being on either of them, depending on the tone it takes.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've made the right call there, waiting and seeing and going, okay, well, you guys would prefer this.
But there's one final bit of information to give you.
Oh, is this going to make me perk up and go from the sounds okay?
It'll make you perk up.
Oh, go on.
the actor who's been cast as the lead role, Josh Segarra. Do you know who... Oh, sorry, Segarra, I should say. Do you know who Josh Segarra is?
The name is familiar.
What's your favourite piece of music on Arrow?
Yes. That's where I've seen the name. Every week for a year.
That's right. Discount Jake Gyllenhaal from Arrow is going to lead this show. But I'm actually kind of okay with that.
He, as long as he brings the cheese.
I don't think he's bringing his theme music with him, unfortunately, for Connor, but...
It's fine, I'm getting that next week. Get it?
But so now I'm intrigued by this. There's not a lot to go on. I like the core premise for what it is, but there's not, like, I don't really know what like, is the entire show him trying to bring someone back from the dead, or does he do that in the first episode and then he's got like a dead partner or an undead partner?
I would assume that.
You'd assume that, but
I mean, I can see it on either way. I think I'd prefer it on sci-fi. Like the versions that I'm seeing in my head, I'd prefer the sci-fi version.
Yeah, me too. But we'd give it a shot in USA as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
But there you go. So next up, TNT is developing a show called East of Jingletown, which is a drama series from a Formula CSI NY producer, showrunner called Pam Veazey. East of Jingletown is a multi-generational female drama, multi-generational, big thing.
I'm drinking for everything that's a recurring trend in these descriptions and multi-generation.
It's about 4 women who have formed an incredible friendship through their sons and sports. We meet them at a crossroads, and the series explores their friendship and their individual lives, and all the amazing warmth of these women's complicated relationships through the ups and downs of it all. That is a terrible description that tells me absolutely nothing about what this show is.
Yeah, so there's 4 friends.
There's 4 friends. They have sons who play sports, and they have things that happen in their lives. That is it. There's no plot for the actual show from that. Needless to say, I am not interested.
And also their friends bit and then the individual was really verging on professional and personal lives.
Yeah, but it's both personal.
It's both personal, but it's like the friend group is the professional, and then the individual is the personal.
It's the personal, and then the even more personal lives.
Personal,
yeah. Yeah. I feel like the end of it's just like a really crappy sentence, and through the ups and downs of it all. All of what? All of what? You didn't tell us what all was.
Life, Peter. Life.
Piss off. So, next up, we have a Hulu show, which is going to star Kat Dennings. It's called Dollface. Of course, Kat Dennings was in the Thor movie. She was in Two Broke Girls. Gladly, that's over now. Interestingly, this is going to be produced by Margot Robbie, so that's her name popping up again in this news video. But she is going to play, and by she I mean Kat Dennings, not Margot Robbie. She is going to play a young woman, who, after being dumped by her longtime boyfriend, must metaphorically re-enter the world of women and rekindle the female friendship she left behind.
I don't know what to expect, really, in terms of writing.
Not a whole lot of plot. It doesn't even mention if this is a drama or a comedy. This could easily be a sitcom.
That's the thing. I think I assumed comedy on that description, even though this is in this section.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me.
It sounds like a comedy.
It doesn't tell me, so I had to put it here, but it could easily be a comedy.
It sounds like a comedy. Kat Dennings typically does comedy stuff.
That's going to be our chance. That's going to be her doing a serious dramatic role.
Could be. I do like her, though. I think she's pretty solid. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but she did 6 years of Two Broke Girls.
She did. It wasn't her fault that was shit, though.
Well, no, but I just see her face and I think Two Broke Girls, and I want to run away.
Yeah. I saw someone in a Two Broke Girls Halloween costume this year.
What the hell is a Two Broke Girl? The waitress outfit?
The yellow with the red.
It's a waitress outfit.
It is, yeah. But I was like, why? Why would you choose that?
I don't know. Unless you maybe look like Kat Dennings, maybe that's a good reason to do it.
Well, maybe, but this person didn't particularly.
Like, you could dress as a leprechaun, it'd be pretty good costume.
Let's try to hear that a lot.
That would work.
I'm yet to find a really good costume for me. That's not just a leprechaun, because that's boring. I don't want to do that.
Have you? Every dark joke I'm thinking of is super offensive, so I'm not going to say any of them.
I was wondering, like, I can see you, like, tone down the offensiveness just a tad. I don't care, but make this palatable for the viewers.
every suggestion to insult you was super offensive, so I'm just going to back away from the joke. I'm going to move on to the next thing, because we're going to FX. They have got the rights to make a show called Highway 59, which is based on a novel by Attica Locke, which the novel was called Bluebird, so it's a different title. But Highway 59, it was a competitive situation apparently. Different networks were bidding on it, but FX got the win. So the book is set in Locke's native East Texas, and it is the first of a trilogy apparently. Locke will write the series adaptation herself, so she's going to do the scripts for the show. So that's kind of cool.
I've seen this a couple of times in the last few years.
It'll centre on Darren Matthews, a black Texas Ranger who knows too well that when it comes to law and order, East Texas plays by its own rules. Deeply ambivalent about growing up black in the Lone Star State, he was the first in his family to get as far away from Texas as he could, until duty called him home. When his allegiance to his roots put his job in jeopardy, he travels up Highway 59 to the small town of Lark, where two murderers, a black lawyer from Chicago and a local white woman, have stirred up a hornet's nest of resentment. Darren must solve the crimes and save himself in the process before Lark's long simmering racial fault lines erupt. I like that last line. That fault lines metaphor or analogy. That's a fantastic line.
I think it sounds alright. I mean, it sounds like it could be really good, but I feel the same way with a lot of these detective shows where...
Well, here's the thing. I feel like I'm excited for this because it's on FX. If this was on CBS, NBC, any of these places, I'd be like, eh. But given that this whole season is based on one book, I know it's not just a procedural. It's one long story. And being FX, I can see... I'm not expecting Fargo tone, but like, you know, with the quality of a Fargo, I can see it working.
This all comes down to tone and just writing quality to me. These shows where, like these detective shows, I can love these, like these sort of, you know, these murder mysteries. I can love them, or I can be really bored.
And we've got things there. I think the racial aspect to the case, with him also being a black cop in Texas, and obviously that's one of the themes we've had.
Yeah. I thought about drinking for this one, but this one didn't seem like it was being cheap with it.
No, it's not quite the same theme exactly, but it's close.
It's the network ones where they're just like, okay, here's a cheap theme. This one seems like, no, this is baked in properly.
Yeah. And you know, it's by a black writer who lived in Texas, so it's, you know, it's coming from somewhat experience. I imagine she wasn't a detective, but experienced to an extent. So I think it's a fine idea. Hopefully the quality is there to back it up.
Yeah.
And having the writer of the book being the writer of the scripts is maybe a suggestion that at the very least there should be weight to the text. Assuming the book's good, maybe the book's terrible.
Yeah,
but...
I was going to say, I haven't read the book. Maybe it's awful, but...
So, next up, Eva Longoria is developing a show. She's producing a TV show called Lucky Boy, which is based on a book. It was published in January. So, that's something I'm noticing a lot recently, is that we're getting shows based in books that are either just out or coming out in a few months, where they've already made deals. It's like...
Yeah.
Time was, they'd be like looking through the records, all the old books. Let's go to the library and see what's there. But now it's like, no.
These days, the book publishers, I'm pretty sure, send them off to the TV studios going, hey, consider this.
So, Lucky Boy, it follows the conflict between two immigrant mothers, one undocumented and one first-generational, as they fight to love and protect the same small American boy.
Okay.
So we've got the immigrant angle, which we've had a lot of.
I'm going to give that one a drink.
Yeah. It's not cringeworthy, this one, I don't think. Again,
I agree.
This feels like more of a specific focus, where I don't know if the story appeals to me, but at the very least it
knows what it wants to do. It's not just shoehorning something into the side of a generic show. And
the conflict seems kind of interesting, even if it's not necessarily a show that I would be super excited about.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch it, but it sounds all right.
All right, well, we'll move on to the next one, which is NBC are developing a legal drama, our favourite.
I'm drinking.
Called JSID.
Justice.
Justice Systems.
The D is department, right?
No.
Ah, man.
Justice Systems Integrity Division.
Division. Oh, so different.
They investigate and prosecute corrupt judges, politicians, cops, and city officials, as well as fellow lawyers.
Couldn't care about this less.
Nor me. Yeah, no, I don't care.
It's you know what? I think this is the second one of these. We had one recently as well, where it's the legal show crossed with something. I think we had it crossed with a medical drama or something recently.
I think so. Yeah.
This is the legal show crossed with the cop drama.
Well, last up, and this is not CBS, so we're actually.
Oh, we're nearly done already. Okay,
yeah.
This was.
Wasn't that quick?
These new shows section was quicker. I think we boosted it up, talking a lot about the DC service.
Oh, sure. So ABC is developing Grand Hotel, which is produced by Eva Longoria. So that's her back again. she's developing shows left and right. The last one she was developing, by the way, didn't have a network yet. That's why I didn't mention one. But yeah, Grand Hotel is a soapy drama, and it is set against the backdrop of a Miami Beach hotel, centering around the family who owns the business, the staff who run it, and the explosive secrets they hide under their perfect exterior. What I think is funny is that just like 2 weeks ago, we had a comedy set at a hotel resort, and that sounded better than this does, but...
Yeah.
Just because it's a comedy.
I think it was funny. We said then, it's like, you can see the benefits of the hotel because it's like, you get all the different people to interact with every time, so it changes things up by its nature.
Which is true for a drama as well. It's just soapy drama. Those words just make me.
They make me want to drink this berry song cider.
There you go.
Can you tell we're doing Arrow after this, folks?
Don't spoil things. So that's the news. So. That takes us on to doing what we always do at the end of this show. We always pick our favourite episode of TV from the week. And this is kind of an interesting mix this week because we have the start of Godless, we have the start of Punisher, we have start of Runaways, we have the usuals in terms of Mr. Robot. We do have Gifted, although we decided to stop watching that this week, so that chances
also
of that...
Also not in contention, is it?
So, we got a couple of different things there.
Yeah, I'm intrigued because I feel like the easy choice is just Mr. Robot again because that made me feel things, too many things.
Made me feel a lot of things.
Yeah. But then I liked what I've seen of Runaways, but I don't think it was good enough for me to put above that. I am tempted to consider Godless though, in terms of just on this impressed me more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, no, Godless in terms of cinematography
might have topped Mr. Robot, which is saying something.
Maybe this week. I wouldn't say it tops it
not
every
week, but this week.
Whereas I think I still have to give it to Mr. Robot because it gave me emotions. It gave me this feeling of dread by the end of the episode that was just crafted throughout the 45 minutes of it. So
I'm going to agree with Mr. Robot, but with the hopes that maybe next week Godless can come in fighting because we've got 5 episodes left.
Yes.
Yeah, I can count. I'm not that drunk yet. But then also next week has the DC crossover, which might do something really special. Not in terms of sheer quality that it'll outperform Mr. Robot, sure. But just it might speak to me.
Yeah, but special enough to beat Mr. Robot, that's a hard task.
It is a hard task. But if those CW shows are ever going to have a chance.
Yeah, it's crossover week. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, I guess that wraps most of the show up, which leaves me to plug things perhaps before we go.
When you said most of the show, I was like, what have we got left?
Just pluggings, don't worry. Obviously, we mentioned the TV shows we've been doing and what's coming up, so obviously keep track of those things and you can check all those out. Worth mentioning, a few of them do have audio feeds, not all of them, it just kind of depends. Obviously, Mr. Robot has one. We've got a Netflix original one, which is not quite up to date yet. I've been working on that.
It'll be there soon.
It's halfway through Mindhunter at the time of recording this.
So you got Mindhunter and
Stranger Things. So then Godless will be after that. No Marvel shows on that because Marvel also has a feed just to have all the Marvel shows kind of grouped together. But yeah, so you could check out stuff like that. Obviously, last Monday, we had our Justice League review, which was over 2 hours long. Me, Connor, and Matt We went in depth, and
again, they'd point out that is longer than the movie is.
Not by much. So,
not by much, but it's still
10
longer.
Minutes. We
didn't have 10 minutes of credits to cut out either.
We have exceeded the length of whatever we're talking about by much more than that in other cases.
We have, but not often with the movies. It's rarer with the movies.
We went almost 2 hours on a Twin Peaks that was 60 minutes long once.
Like I said, it's rare with the movies.
Sure, okay. That's fair. Yeah, so Justice League review, I think it's well worth checking out. Which, you know, we were overall positive because it was better than expected, but there was a lot of criticisms to be had, a lot of things to pick apart.
We were fair. We weren't blind.
Well, I mean, for the record, we despised, hated with a passion Batman v Superman. So that's the context getting into the review of where we were for that last movie, which was, you know, at least the one that was most relevant to this one. But yeah, so I would say check out that. That's worth doing. And obviously remember Television from the Multiverse, which is all the DC show reviews, which goes up very late on a Sunday. So we'll be doing this week's, obviously, at the end of the weekend, and that'll be up. But yeah, so anything else you'd like to plug?
I'm just having a scan of what we've done in the last week.
Plug a Screams. I mean, I know you're not on it, but
that doesn't what you did on Screams. What did you do? You did Cabin in the Woods. That's a pretty good movie.
That was a pretty good movie. Yeah. We had fun talking about that. Wait, by the way, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, which is a lot of homoerotic... I don't even want to say subtext. It's kind of blatant. which is why it's really funny when you learn that most of the cast and the director didn't know that it was there.
Oh, really?
It was just... The lead actor and the writer were the ones putting it all in the movie. And it's very clearly there. There's a lot of goofy stuff in it.
We did Rear Window.
Yes, we did. That and In Flux. We had a good talk about that.
Yeah, it was a good hour-long conversation about that.
Yeah, that was good. So yeah, things to go check out and stuff. Obviously, if you enjoy the show, you enjoy all the stuff on the channel, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and you can support us over there, unlock bonuses and see extra things, and potentially add a movie news video, which is the first goal if we had a certain amount.
We're really not far away, so just if a couple of you decide to go over and chip in, you might have that very soon.
Yeah, not a long way to go to that. So, yeah, usual things, Twitter, @mail_fuzz for channel updates, like, subscribe, all the other bollocks that I usually say. It's just the thing, I know I'm watching Arrow after this, and I'm just starting to feel depressed about it. So I have no energy for this outro. It's like,
Right, you got some time, yeah. I've got to get a bit more drunk. Think about start.
I hope you guys enjoyed the show, but if not, then life.
That's it. I hope you enjoyed the show, but I have to go watch Arrow, so I don't. So, ugh.
I was going to go much darker and funnier, but sure.
Yeah, I know, but based on what earlier you weren't sure where the line was, I'm not sure you could be trusted on this one.
Oh,
either.
No. I was just going to say, I hope you enjoyed the show, but life is a flat circle, so what's the point?
Not sure it's that much darker.
Dear. But I mean, I guess watching something shit like Arrow reminds me, what good is. You have to have the bad with the good, so you recognize it. It makes you feel like you actually have a soul because you can feel it being beat to shit when you watch something bad like Arrow.
Makes it even worse. The last episode of TV we watched was Godless.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So we're gonna go from Godless, one of the best looking TV shows ever, to Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
With only this in between, this mess.
Yeah. I guess we're done. So, yeah, I've done all the plugs. So thank you once again for watching and for listening. We always appreciate it. We will see you next time. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't watched it recently, go check out the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Which, actually, I didn't plug that, but I've been doing weekly solo commentary tracks for those episodes. I've done 3 so far. I did Witch this week. It's a Patreon tier, but the first one is free. You can actually listen to the first one for Welcome to the Hellmouth for free if you just go over to the Patreon, as we mentioned before. But I've been doing that. So episode 4 is coming this week for patrons. So thanks, guys. Bye.